Central distance on the entrances, can be where the little clown was just behind the bar. A sort of mislads close behind the rear end of a bar, so your jukebox is at December's number 1 from 89. Better end of the new crossover, perfect place to wander. Just squat about 1-0 down, on the turn to squander. Running this down. Up to the common and back around. City's heartbeat, back me down.
Hi guys, so we're back in the Brixton Windmill with Hotel Lux, with Craig and Max from Hotel Lux, who are doing a gig tonight. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed this thing, but like with friends, it's like there's a natural balance of like one of them will be the drummer personality, one of them will be the how like they there's certain egos or lack of egos and styles of personality. Like a friendship of like four will like often be that balance that will make.
There's like preset roles already that just kind of come out.
Yeah.
Not necessarily realising it.
Like a rock and roll band is like almost designed for like a bunch of mates.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, I think it's everyone mucking in together, having a go at something that, as at least in the beginning, something that maybe you don't take too seriously or you just really enjoy and you've got a passion for, and then everyone just kind of finds their place quite naturally. You hear a lot of stories about bands where people start doing different instruments.
Yeah.
But then everyone ends up finding the right place.
That's
right.
right.
I'm saying, before I met these guys, I know, like in previous bands, you were all sort of playing different instruments.
Lewis the singer, he was on bass.
I'm glad I never
played
saw
guitar.
that.
Well, I tried to play guitar. And then, we started Hotel Lux, and I'd never played drums in my life.
So you play drums?
Yeah.
And from bass?
From bass,
Yeah.
I wasn't great at bass, but I thought if I've got at least a little bit of rhythm, I can give the drums a go.
That's it. The right formation just seemingly kind of comes into it at some point after trying out a few things.
Yeah. The song Old Timer, it touches on subject of masculinity. Mm-hmm. Are you in touch with your masculine sides?
We definitely are. I think inherently we're probably all in touch with our masculine sides. I think growing up, as a straight, cis male, it's something that you kind of naturally are in touch with, with the surroundings that you go through in school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then furthermore in the music scene, and I think it's something that we are all masculine. I'm sure everyone's kind of already noticed that a bit.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I don't think it's also something that we necessarily try and let dominate our personas or our musical output. Masculinity is quite an interesting and difficult one because I think, it's easy to... I don't know, I think that song in particular kind of deals with maybe the struggles of masculinity, and as a young man, we just briefly touched upon the fact that, growing up, there's a certain pressure and being, maybe less so these days, but at least, maybe we were at the tail end of a certain time.
Yeah.
There's a certain pressure to be a certain way in terms of masculinity.
Indeed.
And I think that song is kind of negotiating the kind of trials of that as a young boy or as a young man, and maybe you don't feel like you cookie cutter fit into necessarily every masculine historical British stereotype. Indeed. And you kind of grappling with that as a in terms of your own identity, and then you have your own doubts about whether you should be, whether you're too masculine or not masculine enough, and it's kind of a question about yourself, really.
Yeah.
And there's lyrics in that song about only seeing his dad cry at the football.
Yeah.
Whether that's true or not is a whole different thing, but just as like an image of going to the football and having this as a kind of alternate symbol of like sort of British masculinity.
It just sums up those two stereotypes in one.
Indeed.
Sentence.
It's masculine and vulnerable, right? But within a safe space of like, because I love the game.
Exactly, yeah. That's
you meant to hold back your emotions and love football. That's it.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's all
so then where does that leave you as like a young man where you're told you can only act a certain way, but then in certain environments, certain masculine environments, it's deemed maybe more acceptable to do so. It kind of leaves you maybe unsure of yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's what the lyrics are trying to say.
Sure. Are you man enough to cry at the football?
Exactly, yeah. Which I have done many a time.
Right. So Bukowski is cited in one of the songs, and there's a line about nailing the first take. How are you getting on with nailing the first takes?
I think, to be honest, in the studio when we recorded, especially that song, to be honest, and a lot of songs, I think we were quite surprised at ourselves how swiftly I think we were with first takes.
I think we
I mean, obviously there were, like, we did have to redo a lot and stuff, but I think a lot of the time I think like you said about the thing about us all being friends, it's been so long been playing together and stuff, there's a lot of times where we do sort of just lock in quite quickly and like pick it up together as a band very quickly, and then obviously that transferred to the studio.
It just occurred to me that, you know, when you're in the studio and the engineer or the producer is just like, let's just do one for luck, let's do one, you know, to get the levels right. Like maybe because they're aware of that, and like, you know, trying to get that first one where people, there's no pressure here.
That's exactly it, because it's funny, like, you know, playing live, for example, in terms of then in contrast to playing in the studio, is totally different. And live you can get away with everything, and so often you play with a lot more sort of like I don't know, vigour and sort of maybe sometimes even a swagger, where you're just like comfortable because you know you can get away with certain mishaps or mistakes, whereas in the studio, I mean, I don't know about you, but I definitely immediately, it's like my head's just like infiltrated by sort of worry where I need to get everything right. Even though often the most amazing moments on record are like little like mistakes and stuff that are then, you know, put down.
Also on stage, no, in the studio with the monitors, you can hear your voice, for instance, like perfectly. But on stage, like, you also, as a performer, I find myself like almost shouting a bit more because like compared to recording, and you know, maybe that brings it out. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. The thrill of playing live and knowing people are watching you, and you know, the adrenaline rush kind of leads to those sorts of reactions yourself in your playing, and how you kind of you're making a stance on stage.
You can hear it through their ears almost.
You know. Exactly. Yeah, and with that, you just become more self-conscious. You know. You know, second guessing things, everything. Yeah,
but in a also freeing way.
Yeah.
Cool. So I noticed there's a lot of social commentary in the songs and the lyrics. Do you think music can unite our divided culture?
It's interesting. Well, I don't know. I was chatting to a friend the other day, and he said something about scientists were saying how now, like, a scientist was saying this, the way to kind of really influence people's opinions now, you can't just like state facts. People are not interested in that. It's about sort of a more emotional representational displaying of certain things. So if you want to get your points across, maybe the arts is the best way to do it at the moment.
Right.
I think this was in particular like they were talking about climate change, I think. But yeah, I think, I mean, it's the most, you know, can cross boundaries, music, you know. And I think it can influence people in a positive way, in quite a kind of subtle way, where it's not like you're listening to a politician or something talk and give a certain stance on a certain issue, which people very easily will make their mind up, you know, because, you know, it's a politician that's coming from a certain figure, a certain voice, and it's very easy. A side. Exactly, it's a very clear side, whereas, you know, music is it is more subtle than that. It kind of seeps in a lot more sort of a gentle, softer way, and people are slowly, I think, more accepting of that, and you can kind of suggest things to people, you know, in a form which people will just enjoy and listen to, and maybe then make them think about things in a slightly less head-on way, and it
get him in the heart rather than
exactly, and just it gives people time to think about things rather than just having a sort of knee-jerk reaction to whatever's been said. You know, you're more willing to kind of listen.
Indeed, right? Because they've already got you with the music, and they're saying something that you're like, okay, well, they're cool, these people, I actually love them, so
exactly, it provides a more sort of
making quick judgments, maybe.
Yeah, it provides a more accepting environment, I think, for everyone to kind of discuss ideas and suggest certain things.
Yeah,
I think people might find it easier as well to relate maybe to a musician saying these things than a politician.
Absolutely. Artists of all genres, like, they shouldn't be political, or they shouldn't have a side, like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, if you're an artist, you know that there's far beyond
exactly. Just
this side and that side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's so limiting as well.
exactly, it is limiting. Yeah, sure.
What do you want people to take away from your music and the experience of it?
I personally myself, I think as long as people enjoy it and it's something that makes them happy. I know that sounds so cliche, but like just seeing people react to it even is like such a big thing for me.
Like unexpected reactions.
Yeah, like just sort of, I just never expected this. Like I said, like even going on tour as a band, like to different countries, or even like releasing music on vinyl, and even like in general, that people seem to like and I don't know, follow. That's quite a personal thing for me that means a lot.
I think first and foremost, it's about making something that you're really happy with and proud of and like feeling, you know, like a catharsis or like it's like inherently emotional when you're just doing something because it feels right and it feels good and it affects you. And then the next step of that is hoping that it also affects other people in a similar way. Whether it makes them want to dance, whether it makes them, a lot of my favourite music is just really sad music, but not in a way that it's sometimes it's quite nice to wallow in a bit of melancholy.
Yeah, harmless
sad
way,
happy,
right?
isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I think if you're happy creating and have made something that you're truly proud of, then bringing it into the world, and then the best thing you can kind of hope for is then kind of having a further response from people that had no relation to the creation of the music. That's like a really, really amazing feeling. When people come up and say to you like about how maybe a song has affected them, or like you say, even just watching them, if you're playing a gig and you see people like getting something out of it, that's like a really amazing thing. So I think that's sort of the pinnacle of it, really.
Right.
I remember the first one for me was just seeing, like, I'm not even a lyricist, I don't even sing in the band, but just seeing people like singing words back when we're playing, it's just like,
amazing.
Couldn't get that feeling.
I'm going to ask you individually, what is your purpose as an artist?
I don't know about that one. I think, probably relating back to my answer to the last question, that's, for me, I think, it's make people dance, make people happy to our music, that's, for me, that's what matters. Even if people aren't enjoying it, like, if you've come along, checked us out, if you hate it, fine. But, for me, it's just,
It's giving rather than
exactly.
A lot of people would be like, I just like it, I love the applause, or it's all about me, or whatever.
None of that with me.
It's hard. I think we're all a bit older now. I'm 27, and I've kind of we're all working in these other sort of menial jobs to support basically doing music. Because we,
messed up, isn't it?
Because it's what we want to do.
The way the world is.
And it's like, I was thinking about this a bit the other day, and it's not like you hear certain musicians or often lyricists or artists in general say like how they create because they absolutely need to, and it's like they wouldn't be anything or do anything without the needing to create, and they can only process their own sort of thoughts and emotions through the act of creating. And I don't think that's quite the thing with me. I don't think it's a need, but I think it's a want. So I don't think necessarily, I don't know, basically I don't know what I'd be doing if I wasn't really making music. I think it holds the utmost importance in my life, and that's only kind of become more so as the years gone on. It is what I want to do. And
just getting the enjoyment from it.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like the ultimate enjoyment, like when we all coming together and we finally like play a new song for the first time, or debut that live, or then going into the studio and finally recording that and then sitting in the booth and hearing it through for the first time. I just don't think there's anything more rewarding than that. I think the act of creation and being genuinely something happy or proud of something that you've brought into the world, something that didn't exist prior, something that maybe, like you're saying, also is going to have an effect, hopefully, on other people. But even if it doesn't, the value is in actually the creation.
Seeing something from nothing to then becoming a full-blown track.
Exactly.
Just every step of the process.
It's a crazy feeling at the end, isn't it?
It's like it gives you purpose.
It does. Exactly.
Your purpose is
exactly.
Exactly. It totally does. It's really purposeful. And, that's why we're all happy to work away at these you know, whatever we do, either, you know, frying chicken or making mocha frappes all day.
Learning French.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gotta be done.
French, yeah. Exactly.
Fantastic. Well, great answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No, it's been a pleasure.
Good luck with the show, and we look forward to seeing it.
Thanks very much. Hope you
look forward
enjoy
to
it. Cheers, James.
Cool, guys.